Professor Nakai, Satoshi Nakai from the University of Yokohama National University. He is currently the president of ISEE, East Asian Chapter, and he is the counselor of the Society of Indoor Air Pollution, Indoor Environment Japan, and Society of Environmental Sciences Japan, and Japanese Society of Clinical Ecology. So he has been a long-time friend of our society in East Asia, I think. Please join me to welcome him for the talk about advances in exposure assessment of air pollution and PM2.5. Please welcome him.
Thank you, Chairman. Good morning, everyone. I'm glad to hear to have this kind of topic and to have the talk about this kind of topics. So already time is behind. So my work is timekeeping. I try, but it's difficult. I have one difficulty because in English, in Japanese it's okay, but in English I'm not sure. I try. Anyway, today my topic is this one. And I considered what I should talk. Today's my talk is not so new one. It's kind of an old one. I can speak about the technological advancement and such kind of statistical methodological advancement, something like that. It's difficult for me. So I changed my mind. I talk this today. It's like a historical overview of the advanced exposure assessment or changing consideration of the exposure assessment in air pollution. So, as I said, it's not new, but please keep sitting. Okay, and also, my standing point is like this. Exposure assessment has been called the Achilles heels of environmental epidemiology. As I'm the member of the ISEE, and also I'm the member of the ISEE. So my background was epidemiologist, but today my talk is from the exposure assessment side, but exposure assessment for the environmental epidemiology side. So actually, my own opinion, today's my talk is my own opinion, so I'm not sure whether you agree with me or not, but I don't mind. So I talk from this. My talk is related to this kind of topics. Do you understand where? This is Japan. This is Japan. Old days Japan. 1960s Yokkaichi city. Maybe someone knows the Yokkaichi asthma. Based on the city was Yokkaichi city. At that time, people lived under this kind of environment. Maybe no one knows it's difficult to find this kind of environment in current days. At that time, a study was conducted like this. Sorry, some Japanese included. Left side is a polluted area. Right side is unpolluted or less polluted area. They compare the prevalence at that time. Left side is higher than right side. Actually, they measure something, SO2. But it's just emission, not a pollutant concentration. Milligram per day. No, sorry, per day something. Maybe not milligram, sorry, my mistake. More higher levels. So, but they compared these, they made these kind of figures and compared this kind of person. Always, at that time, from the scientific field, that is good figures because they had some values. And also, this figure shows some kind of dose response based on the concentration. According to that concentration, prevalence levels change. But from that time, this is the first step of air pollution study in Japan. But from now on, from that time, most studies just compare that. It's a polluted area versus unpolluted or less polluted area, sometimes without measurement. It's a theoretical comparison, something like that. Maybe everyone knows, this is a Harvard Security Study, Doug Dockery's paper's result. They measured many things, something like that. But at first paper in the 1993, they compared the lowest versus highest something. Of course, from that time, they used some statistics or something like that. Then there was some new techniques, something like to analyze this. But at that time, compare the area versus area, something like that. I'm not sure whether you like or not. This is the microbarriers as figures. Approaches assessment air pollution exposure to environmental epidemiological studies, something like that. Worst to the best. Worst with residence implementing in the defined geographical area where exposure can be assumed, not measurement, something like that. All days study was conducted under the like condition. Then he said, best one is continuous measurement of personal exposure throughout the period of observation for all study participants. I agree, but for us, it's impossible. 10,000 persons, 10 years, everyday measurement, it's difficult for us. Well, maybe someone can do, but I'm not sure. Maybe it's for me. Maybe current days, these kind matter. Some measurement, real monitoring network, some concentrated modeling, and some sample measurement of personal experience, something like that. They conducting one or two things and combine these results. Then assess the exposure level, something like that. I think that is required. And that is the important for the, this kind of study. So from now on, I showed some example of the EPI study in Japan, based on from the I talk about from the exposure science, something like that. I don't have any conclusion in my talk, but that's just showing some example over showing my consideration. So if time, we like to have that some discussion after that, maybe after the presentation, something like that. This is the environmental standard for PM2.5 in Japan, that established in 2009. I don't explain how to establish this one, but this one is based on this kind of study, fine particle epidemiological project. Based on these studies, we established that this is this kind of parameter, something like that. The summary said, this study's summary said, actually I skipped the health effects result. This is the exposure assessment. It is possible to estimate the personal PM2.5 exposure level from the monitoring station data. Actually, this study was based on the comparison between areas. But area comparison is it make sense? Something like? So these studies check the main parameter is the monitoring station. Because the purpose of this study is to establish the environmental standard. But comparison is validated or not. If not validated, this environmental standard is not meaningless. So in these studies, we compared, checked these kind of results, something like that. This kind of studies are based on something like that. Everyone knows, I think. Sorry. Outdoor concentration, indoor concentration is necessary to estimate or check the personal consent exposure level, something. Usually, until that time, we used it just outdoor concentration. Then we check the indoor concentration too, and consideration the personal exposure. Then, is it possible or not to conduct the epi study, something like that? We use the check the PM2.5 like this. This is indoor survey. This one is a sampler for the PM2.5 we used. This is a nitrogen dioxide batch, Yanagi batch, but this one is a sampler for the PM2.5. This one, like this. This is pump, and this is a sampler. This box is just for the noise reduction. If not, you can't set any samplers in the home. My experience was that to set some samplers on some home, they said, oh, I stopped because very noisy. Everyone says so. So we need this noise reduction box, something like that. Sample is like this. This is inlet side. It is inlet side. And the pump is like here, like this. And we catch the PM2.5 to 10 at this filter, and PM2.5 at this filters. We conducted this kind of study for not the all homes, the some sample homes, This relationship among indoor and outdoor PM2.5 concentrations and personal exposures. Please see these figures. This is outdoor. Outdoor means just outside the home, not the station, just outside the home. And the personal exposure levels. I think very good relationship. So if we measured outside levels, maybe it can be used as the personal exposure levels. Oh, first step is okay, but second step is necessary because just outside home concentration is representative of the area concentration. This is a figure. This is some seasons, the mean concentration of PM2.5 at the fixed site and personal exposure measurement point. Upper side is the PM2.5. And look at this one. This one is PM2.5 personal exposure concentration and concentration at the fixed site. Fixed site is a general monitoring site data. We conducted these studies at 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 areas. And then measured some homes in each area. I think not so good linear relationship, but if fixed site concentration up, personal concentration also up. So actually, we have many measurement error, something like that, but we can. It is expected to compare the concentration between areas, and it means so then we can find some relationship between air pollution and health effects, something like that. So actually, these homes is within 10 kilometers from the general monitoring site. So it means around about 10 kilometers side width is almost same concentration levels for about the PM2.5. Then we can set the environmental standard, something like that. If the, so and also we can care that the people living close to the environmental standard stations, monitoring stations. But this is the old studies. Just measurement of monitoring site and consider the personal exposure measurement site. Another step, recently, Professor Marx mentioned another some statistical model, for example, land use regression model, something like that is use. Skipped. In Japan, not so many studies about the land use regression modeling, actually increasing. And we tried, this is our studies, and tried this. We made some land use models at the Yokohama city. I don't explain details about these models, procedure, something like that. If you are interested in, please visit to the tomorrow's poster sessions. So our result is like this. We measured developed the nitrogen dioxide and suspended particulate matter. Suspended particulate matter is particulate matter less than 10 micrometers, but not 50% cut. This is a 100% cut. It means they say almost PM7 or something like that. This kind of thing. We consider, we consider, is it okay or not? Is it reasonable? Some site is high or low. Is it okay or not? We conducted this study based on the 29 monitoring station data. Is it okay or measurement point, something like that? And then this is estimated outdoor levels, not personal levels. So is it okay for the environmental side? Maybe study something like that. Yeah, actually, current this is not only land use regulation model, other models, for example, remote sensing data, something like that. Other study procedures used for the EP study, something like that. But so some presentation will be done in this conference. If you're interested in, please visit these topics, something like that. I concentrate the one topic, that one, this one. Appropriate resolution for each pollutant for modeling or epi studies. This is actually my concern to the this kind of studies. Why I said, actually, this mapping was conducted to 100 meters times 100 meters mesh. 100 meters, 100 mesh. However, this is old data. I think old data. I know this. Outside the nitrogen dioxide concentrated according to the distance from the roadside. From the roadside, within 20 meters, 20 to 50, 150 meters, something like that. Actually, as I said, this is old data. So kind of this, the level is decreasing. But the situation not so changed. Situation not changed. Then, based on this data, we found all this kind of results. Some prevalence is higher in close to the roadside than a little bit far from the roadside. Far is maybe everyone has a different sense. For me, 20 close. But maybe I think the United States paper something like that said 500 meters something. As I said, 500 meters, where something for us? Unfortunately, this kind of results consider, we have to consider something like that. Trunk road, traffic road is the source of some emission. Then we consider roadside is a polluted area. And non-roadside, your far roadside zone is a non-polluted or less polluted area. As I said, previous our study says it is a 20 meters something, 20 to 50 meters something. We consider this is a 150 meters something. We conducted our studies like this. But some studies, we have to change. Actually, for this kind of the studies, 100 meter times 100 meter mesh is too big, I think. I'm not sure is it okay or not. But we have another sense of the air pollution study for the environmental standard setting, something like that. At that time, on these other studies, we considered, this area is polluted and compared other unpolluted area. This is the local road area is a localized pollution. It's an area pollution, something like that. And for the environmental standard setting, actually, and for the environmental setting, this is not a polluted area. Another polluted area we have considered. This is a non-roadside polluted area. Then we compare this kind of area, something like that. We said that environmental something like that. So we have considered, we have changing the mind or sense, change the sense to some, based on the some kind of study, design or purpose, something like that. Why I concentrate that, I said about that 20 meters, something like that. Because, I'm sorry, this is Japanese newspapers, so in Japanese. So I put the English like this. This is the old one, they said 2002. Air pollution is responsible for Japanese government, Tokyo Metropolitan government, something like that. This is a court decision, not scientist division, court decision. They prejudge, they say that the causal relationship between respiratory automobile exhaust and damage only for the 7 people who resist or worked within 50 meters of the roads with heavy traffic. They recognize 50 meters from roadside is polluted. Then something should be done for that. But there's no difference health effects among regions. Some regions, no difference. As I said, still we have the same situation is conducted. Also, pollution level is decreased. So we have to consider we have to also consider this kind of matter to conduct the epi study, exposure sense from the public health consideration something. Anyway, to check this kind of study, we already finished to try something like that study on respiratory disease and automobile exhaust. As I said, this is a source. So exhaust gas from sources. This is a distance, this roadside area. Close the roads, a little bit polluted. Far from the roadside, less polluted. The another area is not really polluted. We compared this kind of area something. And we assessed the exposure assessments based on the dispersion model. Dispersion model. This is the result. According to the dispersion model we developed, mapping the GIS map, and then check the address of the subject. Then the person's outside level was assumed. Original model was like this. This is the road. Then this kind of contour map maybe something. But this result is some arrangement is added because it means like this. Time-weighted model is says apply this kind of. Outside plus inside concentration at home, outside inside concentration at school. This is for the school children study. So, and others means it's during this walking to the home to school. Almost this kind of study. Then we established a personal exposure. Then mapped that result. Then based on this result, we conducted some study. And for the establish this kind of E, we measured, asked the person, student, to wear their passive sample for the nitrogen oxide. Nitrogen oxide means nitrogen dioxide plus nitrogen monoxide. But just for the nitrogen oxide, because other sample is too big. We couldn't ask the persons. So actually we measured the inside PM something like that, but we couldn't anything for the personal level. So for this kind of sample measure development is still necessary for the epi study. Actually, this kind of I skipped this one. Okay. So my talk is based on this figure. But as I said, I agree this one. But maybe we need some arrangement necessary for the to conduct it, good epi study, something like that. But this figure shows this. It's like a chronic health effects studies. Currently, many studies conducted for acute studies, and also other kind of time periodical measurement studies. It is for the investigate what is the source when exposed, something like that. This is my home's data. We measured my home's 1 year using such kind of the continuous measurement. Actually, finding was this, outside measurement level is almost close to the GMS, General Monitoring Station data. It is far from now, that's around 6 kilometers, something like that. 6 kilometers side is almost same. And also, sometimes different, but outdoor and indoor level is not so different. So maybe some kind of studies that's already conducted, but this is just for the indoor, not for personal, because this is a sample. It's almost 1 kilo, more than 1 kilogram, something like that, too heavy. And also, I set the sample in this box. Box is just a noise for the noise reaction, something like that. So it's difficult to conduct this kind of study for the personal exposure. Size is problems. So new sampler should be necessary for the personal exposure to conduct some check the time activity pattern or time activity level, time-related concentration levels to check their personal exposures and to check their emission control, to conduct some kind of emission control process, something like that. Actually, some studies will be presented about the new kind of machine will be done in during this conference. So please visit it. That is not that machines. This is another machines. But this machine is actually not so bad. Not so bad. Not so bad. Almost same. It's a 1 minute interval. 1 minute interval data. So some data is different, but I think this is warm up is too short. Warm short. So maybe warm up is also okay. Like this. Maybe not so good. Maybe it's a good, something like that. Okay. Anyway, but this is 1 minute. 1 minute interval. I'm not sure. Time resolution, 1 minute is okay or not. I'm not sure. And also spatial resolution, I said 100 meters or 20 meters or I don't know. This is good something. We have to consider that kind of resolution, or so to check the time, consider time resolution, something like that, to the the purpose of the study. Like this. Our challenge for exposure assessment of air pollution are still continuing. Maybe, as I said, I consider it's like a resolution, something like that, but we have many pollutants, many situations, many countries, many situations, short term, long term, something like that. We have overcome that problem, something like that. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Professor Nakai. Yeah, for the nice presentation. Since we are having the joint conference between ISEE and ES, it's a good opportunity for us to learn each other. So I encourage all the participants to discuss more about this. Also due to the time limit, we don't have enough time for the discussion. I think we should discuss more on the regional Asian issues, I think. So currently, at least in Korea, PM became a major problem already. And the indoor air purifier became very popular, very popular. Even my wife asked me having our own standard indoor of our house. So the correlation between ambient and indoor became much smaller compared to the previous years, I guess, at least in the urban area, I guess. Of course, that's not an ideal solution for air pollution, but that's a reality, I think. So we need pay more attention on the accurate assessment of air pollution, I think. So this is something for the speaker from the organization committee.